feel like insert celebrity's new album is really mid.
Yeah.
Like, it just is really derivative.
You don't even know what that word means.
What?
You just heard somebody with tiny glasses say that word at a dinner party.
That's not true.
Define it then. Define it.
Sorry, I just got an email.
Convenient.
It's a photo of the front of my house, and the subject line reads, "Careful, insert celebrity has hitters out here." Was this because I insulted the album? Okay, I'm not gonna lie and say that I liked it or anything. It's not like I hate the person, it's just... Oh my gosh. Okay, now they're literally just like sending me photos from inside my house. Oh my gosh, no, they're in my bed with their shoes on. You don't think they would like have a weapon?
The person who sent that is probably not even old enough to drive. Something tells me that the only thing they're strapped with is a crusty inhaler. They're probably wheezing on your silk sheets as we speak.
Okay, you know what? I am not going to be intimidated by stupid stans. I'm literally just gonna call the cops. And if any of you try some crap with me, I have a family heirloom taser that my Nona gave me for my bat mitzvah.
No. My mentions are getting flooded.
Somebody tagged me in a post of my DUI mugshot?
Oh, that one was me.
That is not funny. They're starting to spam my Instagram comment section. They're saying my grandma looks like Baba Yaga.
This podcast isn't even live. How are they timing this?
Oh, okay, great. Somebody just sent me a photo of a rope with a message. You know what to do. How much free time do you unemployed brokies even have?
Well, to be fair, some of them are also on house arrest or in a halfway home.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, guys. Seriously, stop, okay? It's not that deep, it's just an album. Okay, well, they are spamming me with a bunch of photocopies of my involuntary admission paperwork to the Betty Ford Clinic. Glad you guys found out about that one.
That can't be. Do you want my taser?
It's okay. I have my bedazzled machete.
To be fair, I think a lot of these people seem like they'd be really anemic, so I don't think they'd put up much of a fight.
What is it? It's a bunch of bent spoons.
What have we done?
Stan culture is one of the aspects of our society that I hope aliens are observing, only because it might act as the strongest deterrent if they have ambitions of conquering the Earth. Once they see somebody getting their address leaked and having a hex put on them because they gave Playboi Carti's album a 4 out of 10, they'll go, you know what, maybe this species is not as advanced as we thought. However, not all stans are equally efficient and terrifying when it comes to defending their god king/queen. Now, disclaimer, I know that a lot of stan culture online is just for shits and gigs. Usually for most people, being a fan of a certain person is not that deep. Stan Twitter in particular has my favorite collection of memes and reactions, hands down. A lot of stans are just doing it ironically, but it's not very serious. However, and y'all know what I'm talking about, sometimes certain individuals will develop such a deeply disturbing parasocial relationship with these strangers that it starts to get scary. These are the 5 levels of terror that a stan can evoke. Tier D, I actually like y'all. Tier C, now, these stans have a bit of aggression to them, but I'm not scared of y'all. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bully you. Tier B, you sure do give me the heebie-jeebies, but I don't know if I would say I'm terrified of you. Maybe if these people cornered me in an alleyway, I'd be scared. Tier A, okay, this has reached restraining order level. I'm shaking in my knockoff boots. And finally, Tier S, please. Have mercy. These stans scare me more than active members. My opinion of these fan bases is not necessarily how I feel about the celebrity. I like most of them, though some of their life choices are concerning. Let's just begin. First, we have a pretty notorious fan base, the Barbs.
Am I a Nicki fan? Pull up in the Sri Lanka. What?
Here is the thing about Nicki Minaj stans. It is not just their ferocity. It's the fact that out of all of the stans, these individuals will not only drag you within an inch of your life, they will make it funny. And say what you will about their ethics, and there is a lot to say. The wit, the verbal creativity, it's there. You know why? It's because most of these people used to be vicious, bloodthirsty theater kids from underfunded schools, or the quiet kids who sat in the back of the class who wore like Cookie Monster pajama bottoms to school. These two demos have some of the sharpest tongues in the world. Swifties might outnumber them and their parents might have better legal teams, but if you grew up in a neighborhood like this, you don't know how to clap back. You might know how to crochet and have a better understanding of the S&P 500, but your insults are gonna be whack. Now this one is personally quite hard because I've always been a fan of Miss Onika. However, the Megan's Law revelations have been illuminating to say the least. These stans genuinely terrify me. Please have mercy. S tier. Drake. I don't even know what this man's stans are called officially. Unemployed? I will say that they're at quite a low point right now. The stock is low. The mama's boys and delusional light skins, and I can say that because I am one of them, that make up this fan base are fighting for their lives. Normally, Drake stans would not scare me because all of their comebacks consist of calling you ugly, fat, a whore, broke, you know, the classics. No creativity, no flavor. They don't even have enough time to leak your info because their shift at Foot Locker starts in 5 minutes. However, I will say, due to the Kendrick beef of the last few weeks, they're more defensive now than ever before. And a cornered animal will do whatever it takes to survive. For that reason alone, A tier. The Beehive. Similar to the Barbs, great comebacks, though in my experience, I think that Beyonce fans tend to be a little bit more older, obviously because of her career longevity. I can imagine that if you have a mortgage to pay, you don't have as much time to be on Twitter telling critics that their hairline looks like a demilitarized zone. I'm still gonna put them in A tier because they do have a ferociousness to them. But a Beehive member reading you is like an auntie calmly obliterating you while not raising her voice. A lot of online stans, clapbacks have absolutely no subtlety. Their assaults are like a verbal machine gun, whereas the Beehive is like death by 1,000 paper cuts while they calmly sip chamomile tea. But what would I know, honestly? I don't think I've ever seen this fan base at their absolute worst. If you have any stories or you beg to differ, please let me know in the comments section. Up next, Azalea Banks. Okay, I like Miss Banks' work. I know, shocker, I like someone problematica. Most of Azalea's stans are underground music nerds or theater school rejects squatting in the West Village who think that they're quirky when in reality they have undiagnosed borderline personality disorder. That being said, they have good taste. Has this woman said a lot of horrible things in her past, and also present, and probably future? Yes, but I am not gonna sit here and say that she is not talented. She's been through a lot in her life, and I'm not saying that justifies most of what she said or done, but it frustrates me that the public is very inconsistent with who they will afford grace to. Her stans don't really scare me though, because they all pretty much acknowledge that she said a lot of things that are out of pocket. They're not as delusional as some other fan bases. But then you listen to 1991, and you gotta go, dang, that's talent. B tier. Taylor Swift. There are cults that have not inspired this level of devotion. There are self-described jihadis of ISIS that are not even as committed as some Swifties. Now, there's always been a lot of misogynistic backlash leveled at Miss Swift. I mean, frankly, a lot of valid criticism too. I get that some of her stans are so defensive over her due to the whole "she dates too many people" / the whole Kanye debacle era of her public backlash. But my goodness, some of the clips I've seen. Baby girl, you don't need concert tickets. You need a therapist. I'm not even joking when I say this. They are, however, fairly young and have a lot of free time. And honestly, that's the kind of fan base that will leak your address. So, A tier. Ed Sheeran. Well, okay, let's just say that some artists have stans and others just have fans. C tier. Ariana Grande. I think they're called the Arianators. That does kind of sound like an alien species from Star Trek. Their clapbacks, not as good as the Beehive or Barbs. However, this fan base does consist of a lot of frustrated college kids and people who work at Sephora who can never make their car payments in time and wear just a little bit too much glitter. So there is still a lot of underlying anger that can be tapped into. Also, over the past few years, they just don't have as much fire in them like they used to. B tier. Kendrick Lamar. This man is pretty easy to get behind, so his stans really don't have to do that much. I can imagine a Kendrick stan dragging you would consist of them sending you a voice memo in your DMs where they recite a spoken word about how your third eye needs to be decalcified. Like, okay, calm down, Jermaine. He's not gonna use this as an interlude in his next album. D tier. Eminem. Oh boy. Well, the good thing about his stans is that they're usually not that tech savvy, so they're not going to be able to hack into your Finsta and start posting screenshots from you and your friend's group chat that'll get you canceled. They're a bit older, definitely more male. They have that kind of rage that can only really come from recently getting divorced or losing custody of your children. It's that like deep trucker rage that can only really be quelled with a bottle of whiskey and a Willie Nelson song. I'm not really scared of these individuals online because once again, these demographics, their insult game is horrible.
Gen Z's trying to cancel Eminem? Honey, that's cute. Listen, little kitties, let me make this quite clear. This man was around even before you were here. So what, you're all mad because the man was a lyricist while all your rappers are mumbling gibberish? No, go ahead and shut your mouth. Better yet, go and sit your ass in time out.
But there is a lot of pent-up rage there, because a lot of these stans have been ride or die for Eminem, even through his kamikaze era. So all it would really take is for one of them to have a really bad day and then overhear you talking smack about the Venom soundtrack, for them to snap the pool stick that they were playing with and go all Tanya Harding on your cranium. S tier. Hosier. His stans are relatively docile compared to others. They're more feral than anything.
Hosier would never make me feel like this.
They have that old-timey kind of burning desire that inspires people to write poems and sonnets. And trust me, I can tell that they've tried. They even sat next to a window and used a quill because gosh, do they love the performance of looking deep and contemplative. Until they realize that their spelling skills are completely atrophied from years of spell checks saving their behind. They can't even spell effervescent, so they just give up and go back to Pinterest. D tier. Maroon 5. I guess you can't really be scared of something that doesn't exist. C tier? Chris Brown. What are his stans even called? The brown nosers? You know, unfortunately, sometimes one of his tracks comes on and you're like, dang it, it's catchy. However, if you are ride or die for this individual, ooh, that is scary. S tier. The BTS army. Let me tread carefully, because y'all have been known to leak people's personal info. Let's be real, the clapbacks do not have the same bite as some other stans, but they are organized and there's power in numbers. Not to mention, they're young. They have nothing to lose. They're 16. You think they care about their gig at Auntie Anne's? Their power is in persistence. They will spam the crap out of all your pages with edits or gifs of like, I don't know, Jimin pop locking and dropping. S tier. Little monsters. It's been years since their peak of being absolutely feral. I suppose most of them have just moved on to other artists or, I don't know, just grew out of standing. I assume some of them might be in jail. Not for anything violent, just, you know, for shoplifting that eventually graduated to grand larceny. B tier. The Beliebers. Once again, I feel like a lot of his stans are just grown up now. I know that a lot of them probably have a little infinity tattoo on their ankle. They wear a lot of sun hats and beach casual wear. I don't know if I would say he even has stans anymore. Justin is fine though, because now he only really cares about appealing to the one almighty figure that actually matters. That's right, Scooter Braun. D tier, I guess. Playboy Cardi. A lot of his hardcore stans are just obnoxious white kids from the suburbs. So just imagine a middle schooler from Connecticut trying to read you. However, they're usually young and unemployed. The deadly combo. And I know that these boys don't do their homework or read, so they have a lot of free time to terrorize you in real life. Old school tomfoolery like egging your house. I hope their moms find out and take away their Xbox. Or God forbid they corner you in one of the mosh pits during his concert. Imagine someone trying to curb stomp you while wearing Converse. How undignified. A tier. Jason Aldean. His stans are mostly on Parler and Facebook. You can pretty much avoid them if you somehow manage to stay within like a left-leaning algorithm. Even if your criticism of him was purely from a sonic perspective, like you were just talking about the music, you're still gonna get called a or, I don't know, a sensitive snowflake. You know the classics. If an American flag is incorporated unironically into your profile pic, you're not gonna be able to give a good takedown, Darren. Let me actually show you what I mean when I say there's a difference between a bad, sort of standard takedown versus a skilled, somewhat psychotic stan. I really didn't like that Jason Aldean single. Wow, another liberal arts major who can't assess anything unless it's through an ideological lens. Maybe stop being so sensitive. If anything, I was being generous with that one. They're usually not that verbose. Verses. I really just didn't like insert artist's verse. Well, maybe if your bum daddy hadn't abandoned you and you're built like a Buick ass mom to run the streets of Atlanta collecting DUIs and STDs like infinity stones, he would have put some common sense into you. Stream the mixtape. That's the difference. C tier. The Beatles. They're so easy to make fun of. Once again, they're not the most tech savvy, so they're not gonna dox you. They'll just have a weird superiority complex because they bought the record in vinyl. The most that they'll do is like leave an annoyed comment that you don't know what real music sounds like and your taste is horrible. And I hope they do that in my comment section as well. It's odd though, because honestly, their sensitivity is the only reason I even like making fun of the Beatles, because I do actually like them as artists, but there's nothing like getting a Gen Xer or a pretentious Gen Zer frazzled C tier. Do you all agree with my takes? I know that some of you will not, but that's okay. I welcome it. If you like this video, I can do a part 2 with even more stans. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know every single time that I upload a delicious little video. Have you ever been a stan, or are you currently within a fan base, or do you consider yourself to be a stan? In which case, my condolences. But if so, what is the craziest or wildest thing that you have witnessed people of a specific stan doing, even if you're not a part of that fan base? I'd love to know. Thank you for watching. Shout out to my top patrons. If you would like to donate to my Patreon, where I upload new videos every single week, then click on the link that's in the description and that is on screen. Thank you to my other lovely patrons. Your names should be scrolling on screen as I speak. Bye.